Hello dear students, this is Hasina Islam, lecturer, Department of English, Tongi Government College, Gazipur. And how are you? I think you all are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. This lecture is for the students of Honors Third Year. In my previous lecture, I discussed um, on Robert Browning's My Last Duchess. Today, I will give you further information regarding this poem. We know this is a nice poem and it is a dramatic monologue. And I think you all know what is dramatic monologue. In the last class, I have discussed what is dramatic monologue. And I told you to listen to the poem very carefully. And if you go through the poem, you can understand and you will be able to understand what is the theme of this poem and what is the summary of this poem. And we know in our dramatic monologue, it contains an abrupt beginning or a sudden beginning, and it is written in that is it should have a speaker and silent listener or listeners. If we go through the poem, we will see that the poem starts with, that is, "That's my last duchess, painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive." That is, a speaker is speaking with someone. It contains a sudden or abrupt beginning, and it seems that it is a continuation of something that has gone before. Okay, in this poem, at the very beginning, we see that someone or the speaker is showing a picture, and he is saying that this picture, this picture, the lady of this picture is a duchess, his last duchess, and she is not alive. She is no more. Okay. So if we assess the poem as a dramatic monologue, we find that it has abrupt beginning. A speaker, he is speaking with a listener who remains silent. And who is the speaker here in this poem? The speaker, he is the Duke of Ferrara, and at the very beginning, this Duke is negotiating with a servant for the head of a count's daughter in marriage. During the negotiation, the Duke takes the servant upstairs into his private art gallery and shows him several of the objects in his collection. The first of these objects is a portrait of his last or former duchess, painted directly on one of the walls of the gallery it was painted by a artist named Pandlov. The Duke keeps this portrait behind a curtain that only he is allowed to draw. While the servant sits on a bench looking at the portrait, the Duke describes the circumstances in which it was painted and the fate of his unfortunate former wife. Apparently, the Duchess was easily pleased. She smiled at everything and seemed just as happy when someone brought her a branch of cherries as she did when the Duke decided to marry her. She also blushed easily. The Duchess' genial nature was enough to throw the Duke into a jealous. And out of, and he then gave commands because out of jealousy, he gave commands. And the Duke thought that this common smile, it should be stopped. This smile is very common and it should be stopped. And then we are gazing this, that is, he is saying here, he gave commands that mean all smiles stopped together. Okay, we are gazing, this means he had her killed, although it's possible that he had shut up somewhere, such as in a convent. But it's way more exciting if you interpret it as murder. And most critics do it. That is, he is a murderer and he ordered to stop the smiles. In this sense, we can say that he is a murderer. After telling this story to the messenger of the family that might provide his next bride, the Duke takes him back downstairs to continue their business. On the way out, the Duke points out on more of his favorite art objects, and it was a bronze statue of Neptune. And in that statue, Neptune was trying to tame a seahorse. It has another interpretation, that is, Neptune is trying to tame a seahorse. That is, the Duke also tries to execute his power. Okay, it indicates his power. Okay, and another thing, if we analyze the poem, the structural, I'm going to discuss on the structural analysis. That is, this poem is written in a dramatic lyric and it is presented like a short play. That is, it contains a story and the readers are, at the end of this poem, the readers are surprised on seeing that in a very trivial cause, the Duke ordered to strangle the Duchess. What was her fault? Her common smile. He couldn't bear this, and that's why he gave the command. And this poem, it is this is one of the most popular poems of Robert Browning. There are total of 56 lines, and this poem contains 56 lines, and almost all are written in iambic pentameter. And the rhyme scheme of this poem is A A B B C C. Okay. Throughout the poem, we can find mimesis, that is a witty understatement which belittles something or someone. We can see this when the Duke boasts about his name and complains the Duchess did not pay regards to his great name. Okay, and he is saying that she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name. That is, with this common smile, he underestimate his name, which he had for 900 years, and he is very conscious of his power and name and fame. That's why the major literary device used in this poem is irony. Okay, irony is another important thing in this poem. Another literary device. It is employed here, implicated here in this poem by Robert Browning. Instead of presenting an unfaithful wife in the eyes of Duke, the reader notices the egotistical and jealous mind of the Duke himself. That is, he was so jealous and very egoistic. Okay, so thank you all of you. And in my next lecture, I will give you further information regarding this poem. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.